what's happening, people? Welcome back to the Graft Kings podcast. We are back in Moomoo's, Kent's hottest nightclub, and today we are joined by Tom Maw.
Hello, how are
you
we?
doing, man? Are you good? Good to have you on. Do you want to introduce yourself to all the people who don't know who you are?
Yeah, I'm Tom Maw. I never know what to say with it.
TM Cycles.
Content creator. I say I'm a content creator and online coach. Usually what I go with. But yeah, I've been doing Instagram, YouTube now for coming up to about 11, 12 years, starting 2011, 2012, and
nice.
Yeah, just been cracking on ever since.
I've seen you on the circuit for years. I've been
circuit.
Well, you have. You're
a comedian.
Yeah. Well, you're one of the the veterans of the game, I'd say, especially in my local area. I know a lot of people that are in the bodybuilding world that know who you are. I think you're friends with one of my good friends, Joe Delaney.
Correct.
We had his brother on here about 4 weeks ago, Mike, and I know that you're now coaching one of my friends, Dan.
Yeah.
And I believe during lockdown days, I know we shouldn't be saying this, but you was using the same gym as me, Aaron Murphy's gym. I think you dubbed it the cave.
The cave.
The cave, yeah. So there was always these. We never actually met each other. We never even knew each other. But I always was following you in the dark, knowing who you was, admire you from afar. I know Merck's a very big fan of yours. He's been following your journey for years.
Oh, for the days. Remember the kitchen days?
My mum's.
Yeah, the mum.
Okay, we're talking old school.
Old school, 9 years ago.
I respect that.
Without sounding like a creep.
No, it's good.
Been watching from afar. But we thought you was perfect, man, because I don't know if you know a lot bit about the pod, but we started this purely because we're trying to encourage men to be more masculine again. We want men to be men again, basically. And you represent that very well. I watch your content, I watch your reels, I watch your YouTube, I dabble with it, and you're always promoting a very positive image for men and what they to aspire to. You're always up and open with everything that you do.
Yeah.
Your name's TM Cycles. Do you want to elaborate a little bit more on that? How you come across that name?
Yeah, that stemmed from my anabolic steroid days. When I first started creating content, it was just I didn't know what to call myself. My name was Thomas Maw, TM Cycles, and it just stuck. And now whenever I'm out, it's like, I cycle. It's all right. So even though I've stopped cycling gear, I'm still being called Cycles. But I don't want that name to go. I feel like that name is
your identity.
Yeah,
that's
your brand. That is my brand. Yeah, you're right. It's right. You're right. So it's not going anywhere. But yeah, that was back in 2011, 2012 when I first started creating content. Nice. Very monotonous, mundane. It was just like, hi guys, I'm taking 500 milligrams of test today, and it was, but it was it was almost like a gap in the market. And the reason why I did it was because I would type in like testosterone cycle, nothing was there apart from Rich Piana, which is not really a source of education. God rest his soul.
Yeah, of course.
And it was like, well, maybe there's a little kind of gap here to just highlight and give a bird's eye view of what's going on with me really. And it snowballed, but it came at a time whereby YouTube didn't really know how to kind of react to it.
Yeah, of course.
And it was received negatively from YouTube. So I'd get ban after ban, and it got to a point where I had like 35k followers, and I had 2 warnings, and I thought if I have a third, it's gone. And there's you can't sit down with YouTube and go, can I have my channel back? They go, no, you're done. So I had to go through all of my previous content, delete it, and I lost about 7 million views. And I think that in itself, I think, has disrupted my ability to kind of progress now. Of course. Because you go on my content now, it's always like, I don't know how you've got 100k, which is nice to hear, but you sort of want it a little bit. It's like, it's all very well and good saying you should be on 100k, and it's like, well, we're getting there slowly. But yeah, I think that at that period of time with YouTube, they were very, we can't have anyone talking about this. Course, and now every Tom, Dick and Harry's like, I'm on gear, I'm a realist, like me. And it's like, it's a bit of a shame I didn't come into it at this point, but it's all
it is what it is.
Process,
why did you choose to go down the angle of being open with it? Because I know a lot of people are a bit taboo with it. They don't want to talk about it. They try and lie about it. I know there's a lot of people who just do not tell the truth about their usage. And why did you choose to go down the route of telling people that you actually do performance enhancing drugs? Yeah,
I can't ever hold anything in. I think I wear my heart on my sleeve. Right. So I think, whenever I'm open about going away or whatnot, I don't want to keep it a secret because, if I ever get found out or something happens, and it's a little bit awkward for me. So I've always been very open with what I'm doing in my personal life. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing, I don't know. But it was more so just to shine a light on and try and educate people more than anything. Nice. My mum's a psychiatric nurse, so she very much kind of clued me in at an early age of the importance of getting blood work ran and things like that. So I kind of had that fundamental foundation and base, which was good. And it was positive. It became positive, but when I remember I first started, people were saying, what you're doing is bad for bodybuilding, you're tarnishing the sport.
Really?
And it was just, I was like, it's a bit of an odd, because this is me, I'm not bringing
Doing it out of spite.
absolutely, yeah. I'm not like
It's
I'm
almost
wake
become a
up.
bit of a trend though now to jump on gear, hasn't
Massively.
it? Where before it was
Absolutely.
not a lot of people would talk about it.
No,
but I think now it's almost like I'm on gear and
Yeah.
everyone will boast about it. And I don't think it's like wrong or bad, but I do think if you do it, you have to do it properly.
Yeah.
So I think that type of content is important because a lot of people just kind of jump on the gear and they don't know how to do a post cycle as well, which
Yeah.
is the most important part.
Absolutely.
Probably one of the most important because your levels are all fucked.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I think there's a lot of kids that do jump on it that ain't got a clue what they're doing. And
No.
the long term effect of it, no one knows what they're doing
Yeah,
to
and
themselves.
Absolutely. I think that's probably the content creation that's out at the moment, I think has created this era of younger generation thinking it's fine because I'm getting my blood work. And it's so important to get your blood work and all of these kind of health checks done. But I think it's almost now in a position whereby as long as that's okay, then you can do it. And it's like you still need to have that level of natural training. You know, you look at my good friend Josh Bridgman as an example. He rinsed natural bodybuilding to the point whereby like he's done. He did 7 or 8 years naturally, and then as soon as you throw anabolics into the mix, the response is better. And now look at him; he's just an incredible bodybuilder.
Yeah, of course.
So I think too many of them are jumping on far too soon. I don't think they've got a true relationship or respect for training. I think a lot of these guys can't train properly. And they're just throwing that in because, you know, their favorite TikTokers now on it. And it's kind of, it's very acceptable now, you know? So whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think you can choose. You have your own opinion on that.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough, man. And that's another reason why we wanted to bring you on, because we've seen from our analytics we're attracting a fairly, not young audience, but ages between 18 and 28. That's our kind of main focus at the moment. Not main focus, but who we're attracting the most of. Yeah. And I feel like that age group are more susceptible to jumping on steroids than any group. And like you said, they just see all these people on Instagram or TikTok and they see all these amazing physiques. And they think steroids, that's the way to get there. And they want to cut out the hard work. Yeah. And being our podcast, we're called the Graft Kings. And then we know everything that comes with graft, you earn.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that obviously is an easy way out for these youngsters because they see all these other people, their favourite influencers behind the scenes doing all this stuff. And you're obviously very open with it. You're educated on it. So that's why we thought it'd be great to bring you on. What do you think would be your number one like kind of message to people thinking about starting who are the ages between 18 and like maybe 21?
It's odd now because I'd say don't do it, which is, you know,
What, full stop or that age?
full stop.
Wow.
Unless you have a goal of competing in bodybuilding at either an amateur or a high level, I see no reason as to why you should be doing it.
Wow, okay.
And you know that stance might shock a few people because I've kind of monetized anabolics to some degree, but having now come off completely cold turkey and gone through that patch and kind of since coming off, it's allowed to view myself psychologically as I was back then. And I don't think I'm a totally different person to as I was. And I think anabolics certainly, aside from kind of the physical, the psychological impacts are massive. We spoke about, you know, the impacts of certain compounds and how it can alter. And I was recently on a podcast with Dr. Dean, and he spoke about some quite damning evidence about the neurotoxicity that anabolics. So it's all very well and good us going, yeah, I'm on steroids and my blood work's fine. It's like, well, you're ignoring one crucial part, which is your mental health. And I think so many people are spiraling out of control now because they can't come off gear because they get addicted to the effects of it. So they're taking anabolics and they get into quick shape for Marbella or Ibiza, and then they like, well, they almost convince themselves to stay on. I'll come off at Christmas, gets to Christmas, but I'm bulking. I've got somewhere I'll stay on until, and then you're in this horrible cycle. So I think it's really important. My stance is, and it always has been, if you are looking to progress yourself from a physique development standpoint in bodybuilding and compete on stage, then take it. If you are looking to, you know, get the most out of your physique for a holiday, there's not really any point. Do you know what I mean?
How did you like kind of gradually come off yourself then and tell yourself that I'm not going to do this anymore? Because again, especially if you're creating content behind it, a lot of people are obviously coming maybe onto your platform for that as well. So how did you kind of convince yourself to say I'm not going to do this anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I come off completely cold turkey, so I didn't take any PCT, which is post cycle therapy, and the reason why I did that was because I wanted to see if my routine and my lifestyle could naturally kick in my testosterone again, and thankfully it did. You know, I mean, I went through some pretty horrific patches. Like December was now I look back on it, I didn't want to get out of bed. It was really it was a low, and I've been through like quite severe breakup, and kind of it was bad. But you know, the me not having to use other drugs to get me off drugs was like quite a win. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and now I'm back functioning again, and you know, people always ask, "You ever going to jump back on?" And I say no, and they're almost quite shocked. They're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I feel great now. I feel probably the best I've ever felt being off them."
What kept you going during that though? Because that's a mental battle, right? Like trying to quit anything cold turkey, whether it's anabolic steroids, whether it's booze, whether it's other normal weed, gear, whatever it might be. What enabled you to be able to I mean, you might just turn around and say it's just your own mental strength, but what do you feel as though enabled you to be able to just push through that? Because every day I'm sure you wanted to go, fuck me, I just want to just go and jump back on.
Well, I said to you just a second ago, didn't I? I thought, God, I wouldn't mind jumping back on. Like, because I know how, having done it for 9 or 10 years on and off, and I just know the effects you get and the feeling. But what helped me was I kind of shifted my angle completely. So I went into I did a high rocks prep and a high rocks event, which is very much running based, and it's very cardiovascular based, and that was my kind of avenue to focus on. So it allowed me not to necessarily focus on my physique too much. Okay. So I think that's important. If you are thinking of coming off anabolics, maybe try and go down a slightly different path and go into, I don't know, like run your first 5K, 10K, and try and prioritize something that, because you can most certainly, once your testosterone is back, you can then prioritize physique development again. I think it's quite hard to get in condition and gain muscle I had zero test. I'd you've got 85-year-olds that are on probably higher test than I have. So
that crushes you as well, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely awful. And I didn't think it'd be as bad as it was. But me and my friend Joe Brightman were kind of going through the same. So it was quite nice to speak to him. And I was like, I don't want to get out of bed today. And he's like, neither do I. And I was like, that's making me feel a little bit better, I suppose. And then come end of December into January, I was like, I'm feeling like libido's coming back again. I'm feeling a lot better. Got my blood work ran, and it was back in like 18 nanomolar a test with FSH and LH functioning again. I thought, I've done it. Like I've got through. Yeah. And that only adds to the resilience. You know what I mean? You can look back on that. Whenever I'm going through a hard patch now, I think,
I can do that.
I've done this. I've gone through breakups. So I feel, mentally a lot stronger.
So bottom line to the youngsters, you're saying don't jump on it. It's not worth it when you look at the pros and cons.
I personally would say it's not worth it.
When people jump on gear though, I think your training changes as well. As in you can do a lot. It could be a bit more. It could be a lot more intense, right?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of people do encounter like injuries. Yeah. Has anything like that happened to you, or
in terms of using it to counter injuries?
I'm just like saying, through like my fitness journey, I've been injured a shit of times. Yeah. Lower back, shoulder, this and that. But I think when you're on juice as well, your intensity is a lot higher.
Yeah, I mean, the recovery capabilities on gear are just, me, Josh and Joe would go and absolutely slaughter a leg session on a Friday, I think it was. I remember back in the day, I used to get nervous before those training sessions.
Really?
I used to have my little routine. I'd order my Dominoes at the same time because I needed my 5 or 6,000 calories. I'd go to bed at like 9, get up at whatever. And then we'd go and just absolutely lay everything. And then on Sunday morning, you're back. Mad. And now Jesus. I do that, and I'm going back into the gym on the next rotation sore. Yeah. So that recovery on anabolics is insane.
Are you doing like you're training on like a bro split, or is it like a push pull legs type of thing? Because a lot of people don't know what programs to follow. Like I didn't follow anything for a long time, and only recently I've been doing one, and it's been a lot better when it helps you with your rest time. And,
absolutely.
Your rest time, your reps, what type of exercise, supersets. Is there any particular type of routine that you have, or that you think people should start with if they're getting into the fitness with the gym?
I think targeting your body parts at least twice per week is key. I think unless you are on copious amounts of gear or a genetic freak, bro splits aren't right for anyone. Of course.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Training each muscle 52 times a year.
Which is, when you put it like that, it's absolutely absurd. It's ridiculous. So, but having said that, anabolics can elicit that response of growth. Of course. Having said that, why would you want to leave it on the table? If you can get max development, then why are you only doing one body part? Try and do two. So push pull legs, upper lower splits are fantastic. I mean, a lot of my clients, we tend to go in a little bit more detail, and we prioritize maybe their posterior, so it's like an upper pull or a back. Do you know what I mean? So there's no one size fits all approach, but I think for the vast majority of people, upper lower push pull legs, or maybe like a posterior, a couple of push sessions and a couple of leg sessions.
I don't know how I got wham, mate. All I've been doing is bro split. Do you know what I
mean? You might be a genetic freak. You never know. You could be the next Mr. Olympia.
I wouldn't go that fucking far.
A freak. Yeah,
don't make me take my top off. Don't make me take this off. Instead of fucking rolls.
What I want to go back into, I just want to rewind it back a bit. When you said you wanted to give your body a chance to see if your tests come back, what if it didn't?
Then I'd use compounds to help my natural testosterone kick back in.
Would you ever consider going onto TRT as you get an older man?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd probably go down the Joe Rogan route of like GH and TRT. I think gets to a point where by late 30s, 40s, you can probably...
Because I've been dabbling in the idea, obviously not right now, but I'm 28. But I've always had conversations with the boys. When I get to them later years in life, I feel like TRT would probably be a good option for any male, I think.
Just for the benefit of maybe people that are watching, boys, do you want to elaborate on what that is, what it does for people?
Yeah, I'll let Tom take this.
I'm sure there's, like I said, the younger demographic now will be watching that thinking, what's that? Googling it, and they could come onto all sorts of shit. So you boys know what you're doing. Do you want to elaborate on that?
It's self-administered TRT. So TRT is usually associated with doctors. You go into your doctors, your GP, I've got low tests, and they give you either a gel or an injection. What we've done as bodybuilders is kind of imitate that by taking a certain dosage to keep your testosterone in a natural range.
Sure.
So the biggest flaw with modern day bodybuilders is that they blast and cruise, but their cruise is essentially like our blast. So what's happening is they're taking maybe 600 milligrams of test, and they go, my cruise is half of that, which is 300, but that 300 is still going to take you out of the threshold for natural. So they're never in a natural period, and they wonder why they have cholesterol issues and lipid and heart and liver and things like that. So TRT is literally testosterone replacement therapy. You are replacing testosterone. You know, do you need it if your test levels are normal? No, probably you don't. If they're on the lower end, then it may be a case of actually looking at lifestyle factors. I think that's another one, talking about the younger generation. I know quite a few people on TikTok that are going, I got my test done and it was low, so I'm on TRT. It's like, don't convince yourself that you should be taking gear here. You need to look at your sleep pattern. You need to look at your food.
Of course.
You know, you're not very disciplined here. You're not ticking boxes. And if you are doing that, then I guarantee you'll see a flicker of movement and improvement in your test. Don't just try and mask your own poor lifestyle as a chance to take anabolics.
That's really good advice.
Yeah, spot on.
That's really good advice.
How did you kind of like transition then from, so obviously you kind of built your following and your YouTube, Instagram business model on building physique, taking steroids, and then you, like I said, you came off. So how do you transition business wise from kind of having something built up based on something so like particular, and then you said you went into like high rocks? So how did that kind of change like come about? Did it work well for you? Did you see a bit of dip in business and like audience on like Instagram?
Yeah, it was tough. I went through, I mean, I was thriving at one point. I had the TM Cycles members site, which had about 4,000 paying customers. I was doing like TMC clothing drops. I had quite a big number of clients. So I kind of was up there for what I was used to, earning really good money. And then I quit bodybuilding, got rid of the members site. And I did almost forcefully make myself uncomfortable. I think, you know, being comfortable is the enemy for a lot of people. And I was earning a good amount of money and doing nothing. I'd click a button. So I hired a videographer. He would film and edit all of my stuff and send it to me. And each Monday I'd go click onto the site and I think, that's my day done. Wow. And I just thought that I can't, that's not right. Yeah. I need to go back to working at the bottom again. So I kind of forcefully ended up sacking a lot of my clients at the time because they didn't really fit with where I wanted to go. Yeah. So I mean, it was tough. I saw, as soon as I started doing like running content, no one watched my stuff. None. My views dipped, and they're only starting to get back into the 20k, 25k now after like a year. So yeah, it is definitely hard as a content creator who's been in the industry for 10 years to see no engagement. Yeah. But it's, you know,
shows you're resilient though.
Yeah, and you should always be the student. You know, it's important during those times to feedback and write and experiment, because some things people really like. Like, I'll tell you what sort of content does really well is like, I ate like David Goggins for the day. I train like Michael Phelps.
People I've seen this.
So there's certain avenues and areas within that field that's really positive. So yeah, it was a learning process, and I quite like it when I'm at the bottom of the barrel, if I'm being honest. You know, I quite like it when I'm struggling. It makes me feel human again. Which is nice.
I said something similar on the pod about a few episodes back. When you got a knife against your neck, you know, you soon kick yourself into gear and start working hard, because you know, right, well, I'm back against the wall here. I need to make something work.
Absolutely.
Why did you stop the member site? When it was, surely that was lucrative. Why would you end that?
Yeah, because I was struggling for the sort of content, you know, especially it was very much predicated on. So I used to do a lot of series. So it was like the Level Up series, the Retribution series, and that's how I tend to work. I enjoy doing that. And we got to the end of my bodybuilding career, if you want to call it that, and I was like, where am I going from here? I'm charging these people $5.99 a month. I can't put vlogs on there because they're on YouTube. So I just turned it into a vault. So now it's like a one-off 50 quid, and people can use that 240 odd videos on anabolics, and they can tap into that. And that's a nice little earner, very passive, which is cool. So that's the reason why I closed it down. And I think when I've certainly had thoughts about reopening up another member site, and kind of I'm the older I get, the more I really enjoyed education. And I think one of you asked about transition. I think my life hasn't been totally anabolic. You know, I do a lot of lifestyle vlogs and do a lot of clothing things here, and the relatability comes from me just living my life. So that kind of helped a lot when I started to phase bodybuilding out quite easily. So yeah, it wasn't too tricky.
Nice, man. Nice. And one of the things you said is, if you don't mind me touching it, of course, you said you went through a severe breakup. Was that something to do with steroid use? Did that have any kind of impact, or was it something completely off topic that no relevance? Do you reckon?
It's a tricky one looking back, because I definitely think it might have had some influence. Do you know what I mean? Knowing the person I am today, quite calm and chilled compared to quite erratic I was, and I was always trying to search for certain things, and my head was being turned. And I toward the end of my bodybuilding career, maybe it was the drugs, because I was on the highest amount of anabolics I'd ever been on for that show. I won the show. I was so hell bent on winning that show because I kind of, in my head, created this idea that I needed to prove a point, and I just shut everything around me out, and that came at a cost, unfortunately. And now I look back on it, and you think I've made quite a fucking big mistake there, which is a shame. But I think what I've managed to do breaking up is grow massively as an individual and as a man. And to be honest with you, I don't think I could have done what I've done in the last 2 years in a relationship. So it's
sacrifice, basically.
Every cloud's got a silver lining.
Absolutely.
Almost.
It's a bit of a weird scenario to be in. It's like, there's definitely positives and there's definitely negatives to it. But yeah, I mean, I back-to-back relationships since I was 17, and I kind of got to a point where I was like, I just want to, I don't know. Yeah.
Bit of me time.
Yeah,
just work on you.
I definitely think it was more that, I definitely think it was more that than just like typical sleeping about. I don't think, it wasn't that. It was just like, I want to be on my own here. Just want to see what it's like and experience kind of being financially independent on my own and just seeing how it goes. Absolutely, yeah. Like, find yourself, if you want to call it that. But
it's true, though, isn't it? Like, I mean, like I say, you went through a phase for a long time thinking, this is who I am, this is what I do.
Yeah.
To now, you're sat here now telling us almost a completely different story. Like, you're almost looking back at that person as if you were, well, it's almost like you can look back at yourself as if that's like your little brother.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
It was definitely an immature TM cycles back then. I think everyone calls it the 2019 phase. I was just a head case. So I was just like McGregor wannabe, just absolutely doing all sorts, strutting about Ocean Beach, just thinking. I look back at, because you know on Instagram now they do the little memories, and you think, I look back at that and think, who do I think I was?
The shorts, yeah.
Just
falls high socks.
Yeah, I just think, what was I doing back then? But then I think that's good. You know, I think it's important.
Growth.
It's growth. I think we should all look back at our previous self and cringe a little bit. And I think if you don't, then there's an issue.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, wow, so true.
One of my mates always says something. He goes, the worst place you can be is the same person you was last year.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, wow, yeah, spot on.
That's Ro that says that.
That's spot on.
Yeah, it's true.
Fair play, bro. Fair play to you.
If you're in the same place as you was last year, you're not growing.
No.
And I feel like the whole purpose of being alive is to constantly re-educating yourself, re-evaluating what you're doing, life mistakes, and just becoming a better person overall, whether that's in business, whether that's actually in relationships, whether that's in financial, whatever it may be. I feel like, like you said, being in the same place as you was previously in the years. I mean, you always talk about it
all the time, bro.
So fuck me, look at us there, what knobs. Do you know what I mean? But that's part of growth.
True,
that's how you get. You have to go to that place to get to this one. Do you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I think what you said is spot on. Just then, like, I do genuinely think, and I think a lot of people don't realise this, is that I do honestly think you have to be by yourself for quite some time to really try and figure out who you are as a person.
100%. Yeah. I mean, there were some dark 6 months. Going for a 9-year relationship to being on your own on a bodybuilding prep. Because, I remember going to I think the Euros was on, and I was eating chicken salad and my boys were having beers, and I just thought, what's going on here? Like, they're going out and I have to go home. But then again, like, the resilience and the discipline that you build from that alone is so, unbelievable. It's priceless. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whenever I face hardship now, I can brush it off quite easily. So there's definitely a lot to take from those periods.
Saying that, I watched a pod. We all know Joe Rogan. We all watch his podcast stuff, and I can't remember who it was he was talking to now, but he basically said that the little uncomfortable situations that you put yourself into every single day, willingly, so you do it, nobody else even has to know about it, like just the self-discipline, making your bed in the morning, right, and having cold showers, having ice baths, the stuff you tell nobody about and you show no one, but just the little things that you do routinely on a daily basis that are uncomfortable and hard to do, but you do it anyway. When you do those uncomfortable things every single day, and then real hard stuff actually comes along, like you don't know what's going to happen, right? God forbid, heavens above. you're already a little bit more mentally prepared and resilient to be able to deal with that because you every day uncomfortably are used to those situations where you're like, I've got to deal with that. I don't want to, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah. So when something else then crops up in life, God forbid, whatever that might be, you think, do you know what? I know how to process this now. And I'll be like, right, okay, cool. I'll just find it head on and deal with it. So I think that's so important.
Yeah, it's the 1%, isn't it? It's the 1% every day that you... And I said one of my New Year's resolutions this year was each month to do something that makes me very uncomfortable. Like January was High Rocks, Tuesday. February was like I had to do a talk in front of a load of 16-year-olds in a college. So these little things each month are really good. I think
I was just about to say, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
100%. We say that, but we relate that back to bodybuilding. Like back in our off seasons, I was a fat fuck, and I was like 115 kilos. I looked awful, and my coach used to say that every week. You have to get comfortable with the fact that you are uncomfortable here, and understand that the reason why we're 115 kilos is so that when we go back on stage this year, we are 7 or 8 kilos heavier and better condition. So yeah, it's definitely...
That's so true when you look at that perspective. Fuck me, yeah. Wow.
It's hard work. That is hard work.
Yeah, because it's not even hard work as in... Well, it is obviously hard work eating the calories, but looking... you're not a fat person now. You've got to walk around extra weight, a bit more rolls. You're not in your usual physique. Maybe you was in a relationship, but a bit different. If you take your top in front of a girl, you look a bit like, I don't actually normally look like this. Do you know what I'm saying? I can understand what your thought process behind that. But again, you've got being comfortable with being uncomfortable, I suppose. And that's if I can...
No, I was just going to say, like, considering obviously putting yourself through prep, it's the fact that there's temptation around you as well. Like you just said, your boys, like they're going out, they're probably calling you up on the piss, going on a holiday, things like that. I think, let's be honest, it comes to a weekend and we will just get fucked and then we're suffering for 3-4 days. But I think that's the hardest part. If you're trying to compete or follow a fucking diet, which is chicken and rice, it's a bit boring. That's the hardest part.
Yeah. And there's absolutely no... There's no level of I will just come out for one. It's just no. I'm just not going to put myself through it. There's no point. I remember I think it was a stag do. I went to my very first junior bodybuilding prep, and we went to the races, the horse races, and I was downstairs eating like a tuna and beetroot salad, and they was upstairs doing God knows what, and I just thought, I think I should probably just go. Like, there's no, I'm not getting any enjoyment, and they're not enjoying my, bless them, they love me and I love them, but there's no point in me being here. So I sort of used to say at the start of prep, I'll see you in 6 months' time.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, literally, yeah. And they're like, and they're good, and I love them to death, and they'll be with them until we all probably pass away. But it's that communication of like, yeah, sweet, see you. And I'll still meeting them now and again for a walk or whatnot. It's not like I won't see them, but. And again, when you're in a relationship as well, you sort of say to your partner, I will see you properly in 6 months. We can still go out and whatnot and little dates here and there, but I'm not going to be available, unfortunately.
That's
she supported you through that.
And bless her, she fucking supported me through every prep. Yeah, of course.
Wow. Fuck me.
Yeah, do you regret any of it?
Do I regret
the missing out on all them social events and time spent, or are you glad that you got the glory at the end of it?
I don't. I never have any regrets when it comes down to that sort of stuff, because I've got the ability, and I always thought like if I stop at 28, 29, and then I've got a life of doing that. So no, not at all.
Talking about the social side, you said you're going to IB4 in May.
Correct.
Is that going to be tamed? Or how's that going to balance that?
I mean,
truthfully, transparency, please. Yeah. We know what IB4 is. We know what happens. Of course,
yeah. I mean, I've got no one coming out there until like the 15th, 16th. So it should be. Unless I just start.
It should be. It should be.
The goalpost is moving.
Yeah, I mean, I might just go out on my own, just fight and end up in DC10 on my own. But
we make friends.
But you can do over there.
That's 100%. You can walk into any club and you just start chatting to people. No. That's it. You're mates for life. You can open a business together. You're going to move in together.
Got all these big plans.
All in one night. You can draw it up on a napkin.
So true. And then you sober up. You're like, who the fuck are you?
I know.
I was with you all last night. No,
you weren't. That was Patricia, not me.
I think I've had more business ideas in a smoking area, at home. So yeah, I mean, I want to kind of just use it Monday to Friday. I want to travel around a little bit of the island as well, and go for some nice little quirky restaurants and that, and just enjoy my own space for a few weeks.
When you're living there, you can see like a nicer side of it. Like we spoke with, was it Kieran that we were speaking with? Because he worked out there, the owner of Moo Moo's, and he was just saying you just get to experience a complete different side to it.
Absolutely.
You don't need to go all out and just get off your nut. You can actually enjoy it in a different way. So
yeah, I mean, we try and do that now when we all go out. I mean, we stay in like Dalt Villa, the old town. So my best mate sister lives there full time, and I've got a little apartment where she is. So that particular area, we always try and go for a nice bit of food and play
Yeah.
and that, and then before we go on a night out. Otherwise, it's just a complete write-off. Do you know what I mean?
It's too much, isn't it?
You
That
go
way.
from like Blue Mile in to a night
Yeah,
out, then Ocean
finished.
to a night out, and you think, I'm done. I physically, I'm
Yeah,
finished
that
here.
does
Just
take
not
you.
eating at all.
No, and I like
Beef
food.
takes your soul, doesn't it?
does,
I
bro.
beef literally
Oh,
robs
it
you of
does,
your soul.
yeah, absolutely.
I've got a little bit of my soul left there every time I
It
go.
does, doesn't
it?
I've left a little bit.
I can see it now though. Push session at 10 and then like DC 10 at fucking 10 p.m. in the evening. Like,
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, that's fucking early. I don't rock up to DC 10 to 1, 2.
I don't know what to say about that time.
I hear you. I know what you get.
You know what? People got that misconception about a beef. They think, what time the club's open? I never
mad
like
late.
people.
Never
Clubs
shut,
don't open
mate.
till like 1 a.m. mate. Do you know what I mean?
Having
Like,
it right
they don't
off,
open till 1. I'll never forget first year we rocked up second night to Sankey's. He's gone now,
Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
that was
That was
one
a
of the
gap.
best clubs ever.
That's one
bro.
of my favourites, yeah.
It was a dungeon,
It's
bro.
unbelievable.
You could touch the ceiling, couldn't you?
Yeah, the second night there, we all
Sweaty
rocked
bots.
up. I won't say what happened too much, but we just walked. We was walking to it. I thought it opens in 15 minutes. Put it that way, right? Rocked up to it, and we got up and there was no one there. And I was thinking it's a bit dead. There was about 40 of us though. And he was like, "Yeah, chaps." He's like, "Yeah, it's like just curious. Like, got an hour yet, lads? An hour and 15 minutes."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh no." Went to my mate Mark. I was like, "Bro, we've got an hour before the doors open, bro." He's like, "What are you gonna do?" I was like, "I don't know what we're gonna do."
We'll make our own party in the
Yeah,
street.
so
Put
we
the
did.
tunes on.
Went to some little sidebar. The thing there just like some dirty karaoke now and then. So it's the best night ever.
So just rolling back. So you said you're going out there. You completely, because I don't know too much. I know you do coaching, and that's your main thing. And you had your members thing before. So what is the current setup for you now? Are you just a full-time coach?
Yeah, it's full-time coaching, and I've got a couple of other businesses. So like the Ibiza Classic is a yearly intake of clients that want to get in shape from like March until summer,
That's a sick idea.
and it's cemented around Ibiza, and they win flights and accommodation over there. And the idea is we fly a few people out there, get a photo shoot at the beach outside, and just have a couple of days with me and just party. And
That's a great idea.
so yeah, it's kind of like getting lifestyle in with coaching, and it's really popular. Each year has grown, and then from a business standpoint, I try and get a lot of those guys to stay on board with my coaching. And then recently we opened MetFlow, which is like a 50-day challenge, which is kind of instilling that level of discipline and both working on physical and psychological improvements in people. So I hired a couple of coaches, and that was really good, and I enjoyed that. So that's like every year that starts in January. So all the New Year's resolutions have that kind of something to get
Nice.
into, and it's not throwing them straight into the deep end. So it's not like go and do 10-minute meditation, 2-minute cold shower. It's like week 1 we do 30 seconds, week 2 we do 45 seconds, and we build their resilience up each week, and then that kind of segue. So I almost wanted to try and almost create like a conveyor belt of businesses. So from January to March, MetFlow, March to summer, Ibiza Classic, and then we've got like education content coming out over the summer, and then do like a little Santa shred before Christmas. So it's just like
Oh, clever, man.
growing each of those individual columns year by year.
When you say we, are you doing that by yourself or are you doing it with someone together?
Just, I mean, like marketing companies
Oh,
and
okay,
other
okay,
videographers that help me out here and there. So, but yeah, there's loads of other avenues I want to get into, like the Team Cycles Content Creation Academy, which is like helping guys and girls on Instagram Reels and filming. Because I spoke at that college with the kids the other week, and they've just got no idea of like marketing, and they're going from college out into the open world, and they've got no idea.
Yeah, because
And
college don't teach you shit. about-
absolutely nothing. So it was like, can I try and create a business here that I could potentially pitch to a college? I think that's probably like a nice little spinner. So that, and then like a cookbook. I love my cooking as well. I think trying to get that involved would be a really good idea. So
I was about to
You good?
sneeze, but then it
Yeah.
I thought you were having a.
right.
I was thinking, what's going on with
tap
it?
state.
do you want to leave?
I was about to sneeze. I was about to
I thought there was something wrong with you, bro. I've never seen you behave like that
No,
before.
I was about to sneeze, but you know what they say? If you
In-
get scared, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I went this way, got a bit shook, and it just fucking left.
Sorry to interrupt you there, bruv.
Sorry, bro.
Cooking would be interesting. Like I think not enough people know how to cook, what to cook it with, how to make it interesting, how to
it's-
make it fun.
yeah,
Like
and it's so-
I love food, man.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, and it's easy to. There's so many low calorie, zero fucking fat and sugar stuff now. It's just no excuse. I mean, I check, and there's a level of resilience you've got to build in your clients as an online coach, whereby you've just got to go, look, dieting isn't that hard.
No, it's not. Yeah.
And I know that'll piss a few people off, but it's not. No, I mean, you're not starving to death here. Put things into perspective. You are very thankful. You've got a roof over your head. You've got food, and you've got like 2,000 calories for the day.
Yeah.
Sorry to burst the bubble, but this is much. I've been doing this 12 years, and so yeah. I mean, there's so many nice ideas, and I just love cooking and creating different recipes.
I think a lot of people dieting phases fail as well because they're not like aware of what they can eat and what they can't eat. Like
Absolutely.
when I didn't really used to know when I was a bit younger.
Yeah.
I didn't really know how much of what to eat. But then when I kind of built like an understanding of what food has what amount of calories. I was like, actually, I've got quite a lot of calories to play around with here.
Volume. You like when I'm like going out as an example, like on a Friday or a Saturday, I won't have a first meal till like 1 p.m. That first meal will be like massive chicken salad, and you think probably uneducated people look at that and go, "God, I'm about 1,000 calories. It's like it's 300."
Yeah,
it's just volume of food with like a 0-calorie French dressing, and I've got 1,800 calories for booze and dinner with my lot, and I'm waking up the next morning lighter. So it's like I can still drink, I can still socialise, I can still train and look good, as long as I've got that understanding. And it's about I just want to give people the tools to do that as well, because I don't think people do.
People don't know.
They just simply don't know. They don't understand the concept.
Like some people online do take advantage of that though.
100%, absolutely.
Sometimes you get lost and you watch these type of fitness accounts. I think, what the fuck is that? Like, I mean, you don't need to be like Einstein to know that is fucking bullshit. Just saying our eggs are this. I'm just like, bro, like, just keep it simple. Go back to basics. So a lot of people do sell bullshit as well.
And then you just got these fucking idiots that go around supermarkets going, this yogurt is gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You think, what are you talking about? And they're like, there's these old school bodybuilders that just like, they'll do like little reels where they'll react to certain influencers talking out, and they're like, this protein source is shit, and it's like, no food is shit. No food is shit. I could easily fit in like a McDonald's tonight if I wanted, but then I'm having all my micronutrients for breakfast and lunch. There's no singular food that's going to kill you or it's bad, and they prey on that.
See, that's realistic though.
Scaremongering, isn't it?
That's realistic, because a lot of people have like a certain lifestyle outside of the gym as well. So I know you do this with your coaching as well, where you actually say to them, look, I'm going to help you work around drinking and going out and eating the food that you like, as well as doing the hard stuff as well. So it's all about balance, which a lot of people don't sell because they think, right, how can I stand out?
Well, I think they're saying what they think people want to hear.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're selling. They're because most people don't spend the time investing into what you guys know and what you've spent a lot of time doing. Do you know what I mean? They'll just listen to some Joe blog that potentially looks the part and is like so convincing in what they say. They're like, that's got to be right.
Well, look at Liver King. It's a great example.
Yeah, fuck me. Yeah, wow.
Do you know what I'm saying?
He's off the radar now, isn't he?
He's still doing his
blown up
thing.
even more, which is annoying. Do you know what I mean?
I ain't seen him, but I don't see. Like, the Nelk boys used to do him all.
You're correct. I don't see him
at all.
But I don't see Tate on my feed anymore. And then now he's come out and now it's come back in again. So it's like you can see what's happening in terms of the movement of the algorithm of these guys. But
it's mad.
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on the Liver King? I know you've done a video on him, but
he's just an arsehole, isn't he? He's just a fucking idiot. And why people aren't saying you're an absolute arsehole?
He's a belt.
I mean, I knew he was on gear.
Everyone
knew he was on gear, but
he's the Pope Catholic.
Absolutely. But then you are also forgetting that there are going to be hundreds of thousands of very susceptible young males that look at that and go, "Oh, he's natural," and you've just fucked them. And because now they're sitting there thinking, "Oh, what do I do?" He's just come out about being on anabolics and now he's being respected. So do I do anabolics or do I stay natural? What do I do?
He should be shamed for that. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what it was? He was like a recluse. This was what he tells people. He was a recluse, never done social media before, literally didn't know the outside world, didn't think, he just didn't know how to, basically socially awkward, didn't know how the real world worked with social media. So if he thought he could get away with it, and then you had all these big guys. Was it Place with Dates? Was he
more Place with Dates? Yeah,
he was calling him out all the time.
He's the best.
And he was calling him out to his face and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Liver King was so oblivious to the real world of like the bodybuilding world and that he just thought he could lie and get away with it, and then someone exposed him, and that was it. It's game over. There's a shit.
People, 10 grand a month.
What was he taking? Peptides, growth. It was insane.
How did he not die?
I was going to say, how is he still alive, mate?
I mean, good gear, I suppose.
It must have been good stuff.
Those livers must be doing something for you.
But he is actually eating that food, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
and he lives like that apparently as well.
Ancestral tenants, I just thought,
cheeky bit of testicle in that.
It is. It's cringe.
It's sucking all the joy out of life just to... Mate, you know he's a multi-millionaire though.
He's
absolutely stupidly rich.
Yeah, stupid
It's fucking crazy. But that shows you what you can do with social media. You can just...
He was rich before that though. He's got company. He was minted way before social media.
That's the crazy part about social media. You can influence people to do anything really as long as you've got a good enough story.
Good voice, yeah.
And like I said, fear sells. And he was fearing people into eating all the other shit. He said you have to eat everything raw. But everyone endorsed it. You had Nelk have him on. You had
That's what I mean.
Logan Paul.
Nothing to do with him now.
No, Logan Paul had him on. Everyone had him on.
Did,
Everyone had him on the shows. And then now it's all come out as
bullshit. Can't have nothing to do with a liar, man. When someone's been exposed for being a bullshit.
No, you just lose any credibility that you
completely
once had. 100%.
But that's what I don't like about this world nowadays. You don't lose any credibility.
Oh, right.
anymore.
Yeah,
well, you should, but you somehow people just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
That's back in the day. If you was caught doing something, that's it. You wiped clean. Like everything's acceptable now. I don't want to go too deep into other stuff because I don't want us to get cancelled on YouTube. But there's certain people in certain families that are in certain high positions that have come exposed to be doing certain things, and they're still. They're
Even
still
keep it
walking
relevant,
about.
yeah. I mean, see the thing about the Dalai Lama.
Do
you see that?
Absolute nonsense.
Do you know what I mean? He's a fucking dirty nonce, bro. The Dalai Lama, mate. He's had some 11-year-old boy, wasn't it? Asked him to suck asked him to suck his tongue. How are people not? And people in the audience are just laughing, bro. How are you not rushing up there and bashing the old man around the head? Like you are filthy nonce, mate. Take all his credentials away from him.
Here he goes. He's gonna throw a bottle.
You shouldn't be on telly. You shouldn't be in a position. I mean, they're all dirty nonsense in that field anyway. But like, you shouldn't be in that position of power. You shouldn't be on the news. Like news medias and people should like. He's no longer being on television. We are no longer broadcasting him. Like, how is that in the pub? And he's put out an apology. No, mate, you're a fucking nonce, bruv. Like, imagine if anyone in the street walked down was to ask 11-year-old boy to just suck his tongue on national television. Like, are you alright, bruv?
Yeah, it's nuts.
How is that on media? Oh, he's put out an apology. How is that not
Because
news?
he's seen as a very influential figure, and they can't have someone like that be shunned, I suppose.
I just can't. I just fucking mate. The world is
a mess.
mental.
The world is the world is a mess. I know what you're gonna say. You just gotta be careful the way you word it. Like all these people that were on this certain island and they're not being convicted of anything.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But you've got people like, I don't want to mention his name as well because of the algorithm. But you've got these two brothers that stick up for other shit and they're being shunned. Do you know what I'm saying? It's crazy how the world's working nowadays.
Absolutely. You only got to look at our government as well. They're just getting away with murder and
How is Matt Hancock a proven liar? That's it. He got paid $100,000 to go on I'm a Celeb. Do you know that?
Mate, the world's a mess, mate.
100, or it might have even been $300,000.
and he gave away, I think it was 10k.
10k to charity.
Yeah.
I've done.
And Richard Madeley was going, if you weren't doing it for the money, why have you kept it all?
Yeah. You are war.
Yeah. No, I share your
They're called out
frustration.
liars. Do you know what I mean?
The worst
Like,
part is he started to win like the public over.
He did.
After
He did,
everything
he
that
did,
he's
he
done.
did.
Yeah.
People
How
were
cheeky
actually
is
like
it that
rooting
they've
for
even
him.
asked him to go on I'm a Celebrity?
Yeah,
You're you're a politician. You're not a celebrity. You're a wanker.
These programs and all the media's corrupt, mate. Everything's
Yeah,
corrupt.
they're-
They're all fucking
crazy,
corrupt.
man.
All of them. Every single one of them. They're all in each other's back pockets. They're all corrupt. But that was leading me into my next question for you.
Sorry, folks.
Mason's rant. No, but there was a question like, so you're in a position which I soon want to be. Like you're fully autonomous. You've got an online business and you have no essential boss. I know you've got to make your own earning, which is obviously tough enough in itself. But you can basically be anywhere in the world. Why are you still in England?
I don't know. Honestly, I had a ruby with my mum last night and I said, there's no incentive for us to be here. Do you know what I mean? The gas, electricity prices, council tax, why am I?
Yeah.
And you know, the way in which the government is at the moment, why am I paying into this like regime almost? What? So yeah, I mean, like I said to you, like if I didn't have my dog, I'd be off. And I think, I will probably use IB as a chance to see how I feel. And I think the biggest thing would just miss my boys, I suppose. But it's easy, jump back on a flight. We're getting old now to the point whereby it's quite hard for us to all be in the same area.
Of course.
And it's probably just like every month that we meet up for a curry. So it's like, I could probably move to IB from just fly back for. Do you know what I mean?
For a long weekend.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Would IB be your destination of choice?
I don't know. I mean, just anywhere but England for
Yeah,
winter. I really struggled this winter.
Same here. So do I.
I don't know what happened, but just like the dark nights and
Been a weird year, isn't it?
Dragged as well, isn't it?
my mood is so
influenced by the weather. Yeah,
which is like yesterday was really sunny. Today was raining. I just thought, I'm done again. Like, I could feel myself just dropping motivation and productivity. So anyway, lands alright.
What about Dubai?
I was literally
about
to say
it doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Have you been?
No, I haven't. So I shouldn't really be giving an opinion. But I don't. There's just something about it that just.
Do you know what? I was literally only having this conversation with someone, a very similar conversation with a mate of mine, talking about Dubai. And he's like, mate, you've been to Dubai, blah, blah, blah. I was like, we've been there for a good amount of time and long enough to know what it's like to live there. So me and Yo lived there for about 5.5 weeks.
5-6 weeks we lived there for,
5-6 weeks we moved there for.
Some people would say it's not living, but we actually did. We
worked and lived.
Worked the apartment.
We weren't partying every day.
Shopping, it was like...
we went and done our food shop like in a week. And so we know exactly what it's like to live there now.
Yeah.
Right? And again, he was like, he hadn't been before. And I was like, I think you'd be pleasantly surprised because again, social media, right? All you know about Dubai, for those that haven't been there, is what influencers put up.
Yeah,
they're like, they're living this lifestyle. Like, listen, it's built for that lifestyle. So if you go there with millions of pounds in your pocket, you can live, you can do whatever you want. And you can, if you go there with $5,000 in your pocket, like we will,
absolutely,
you can just live a normal life. Do you know what I mean? And still go to lovely places.
I think it's the greatest place. Personally,
it's incredible.
I think it's the greatest place on earth to live.
your circle, your influence of people, what you do for a living, it is almost built for people
you.
like you.
Yeah.
Do you know who pushed me to do it more? Is seeing Mike Thurston do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Because he's now done a video recently about, because he's very open with his financials and everything.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
And he said, like, I've moved from the UK, claims residency in Dubai, and I pay zero tax. And I was thinking, why the fuck would I do that? That's just
He's loving
like,
life as well.
pay like
Podcast doing well.
Yeah.
I literally spoke to one of my pals yesterday. He's got like a real estate business here, Tara and Ash, and he's gone out there and he's like, I'm going to just tap into the Dubai market. And he's not even been there. He's only been there a few weeks, and he's like, bro, he goes, the type of connections I've made, he goes, it's unbelievable. Because I'm here. He goes, I don't want to say what he's starting, but he's getting involved in another business now. And it was like, bro, he goes, I've been out there before as well with Vanex, but not to actually see it with friends and like in a different way. Yeah. And he was like, if you come out, he goes, you'll thrive because all you're around is just winners. Yeah. And that's what becomes normal to you. You're around successful people, or even if people flaunt it. There's so much success that is what normal is.
Yeah. So true. But
you know,
there's no like skanky people. You don't got to worry about anyone robbing you, and no one starting on you, no one fighting. I know I love a drink. But you don't got to worry about the generosity of people getting drunk, falling over, fighting in the streets. You don't see it.
If I was you, I'd go out there for maybe a month.
Yeah, no, I definitely go out there. I just feel like it's very pristine. Like I like rustic. I need cobbled streets and.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Little coffee shop and paella.
Almost,
I mean, I just feel like
it does lack culture.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
You go to Old Town and you like that is actually a different world.
Yeah, no,
to Old Town.
that's why I'm going to Ibiza and staying in the Old Town because that's what I love. I
rate that. Yeah,
my little €2 coffee on the corner of a book, and I'm like, that's me sorted.
For the day.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe in my younger years, I'd have like the 2019 cycles would have flown over there in a heartbeat. But I just feel like it's a little bit different for me now. But yeah, I definitely need to go over there and experience it.
How old are you, bro?
29.
Oh, you're 29. Okay.
Here's a question. Going back to food earlier on, I heard you say you wouldn't eat your first meal till 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Is that still now? So do you fast in the mornings and eat 2 meals a day?
Yeah.
Like, what does your eating structure look like?
Yeah. So on a training day, I'll have my first meal about probably 11.
Okay.
So I'll wake up about 6, do my client work, have coffee, your himban, go and do my fasted cardio, come back, work, and then I'll have my first meal about 11. On a rest day, I won't eat until 1:30, 2 maybe.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, and then my eating window will be like 1:30 to 6 or 7. So I've got like a 6.5 hour eating window. But I think it's important for everyone to fast in the morning. I just think it's so counterintuitive to wake up and roll out of bed and have food.
I agree. And you're more productive, I feel, when you don't eat.
Oh, 100%. My most productive hours are when I am fasted and have my caffeine. Or sometimes if I've got a big workload, like this year's Ibiza Classic intake was heavy, so I was just having my black coffee and modafinil. And just absolutely sure. I'm in
the zone.
What's your opinion on? So I train in the morning with your older brother. We train in the mornings. 6:30 we train.
Nice, yeah.
Completely fasted.
Yeah.
I have water, obviously.
Yeah.
But completely fasted. We'll go and train. Normally we might do a mile and a half run first for a warm up.
Nice.
Then we'll go and train for about an hour and a bit. Completely fasted. What's your opinion on that in terms of training fasted or training on a full belly? Almost,
weight training.
Weight training. Yeah.
No, there's no difference.
Okay.
Absolutely no difference. If you've got a decent amount of food in you prior to your going to bed the night before,
it's fine.
I mean, you look at kind of
because of glycogen
synthesis and protein. It's just all this kind of fictitious rumors of you've got to have X, Y, and Z on, but it's just not true. You aren't going to waste away. I mean, you could probably train at 6 and have your first meal at 12, and you wouldn't.
I mean, I usually don't have breakfast once I get back, start work. I usually don't eat breakfast till about 10 after 10.
Yeah, absolutely fine.
What about performance though, like being able to lift more and stuff?
Yeah, they've seen no kind of data to suggest that training fast is going to somehow. Obviously, everyone that does it, because they've been so used to having food before, they go, "Oh no, shit." It's like, if you condition yourself to do that longer than one session and don't throw your toys out the pram, and just go, right, if I'm having like a calorie rich meal at maybe 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. and going to bed at 9 and training at 6, that's fueling your workout. Okay. And I like the feeling of waking up and having that pre-workout because it hits me like a steam train. Yeah. You're getting your caffeine consumption out early, so sleep isn't affected.
Yeah,
fair. So I think that's the most optimal setup and scenario for most people anyway.
What time do you stop eating then? If you like
about 6:37.
See, I'm listening to what you're saying, but for me it wouldn't work because of my job, because of my business. Like, I'm in hospitality and sometimes I'm flat out from maybe 5 till 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm starving so I end up eating. So I think it does depend a bit on your lifestyle as well, I take it.
100%.
Because for me, I just don't think that would work.
No. I mean, you say that, I think I mean, I could say that's a defeatist attitude, and you haven't put yourself through it. Do you know what I mean?
Cheers,
I'm doing an intermittent fasting video, and it's like that first portion for a lot of people is tough.
Yeah.
But you get used to it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I've tried it.
Yeah,
I've attempted it, but I suppose when it comes to that window period and I've not eaten because I'm in service, and
of course.
I'm starving. So,
But you say you're starving, but you're not actually starving.
but like, I tell myself, I'm like, when I wake up, I'm like, I need to eat. I'm a fat prick and heart. Like,
But you say that, but like when I do these 3-day fasts, mate, and I'm like on day 2.5, and I'm fucked. But I'm like, I want to eat everything in the house. But then I make it to day 3, and then I break my fast. I'm like, actually, I just did 3 days.
Yeah.
Do you know what next fast you do? I'm going to join you.
Do it. Do you want to do one soon?
Not 72 hours, not my first one.
My first one was 72 hours.
Okay, I won't do 72. I'll just
24 is I'll do 24.
I'll do 24, 24 or 48. I'll do with you, bro. Definitely.
You know, I don't even do it for like any kind of aesthetic benefit. I'm doing it for this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm literally doing it because if I can go, because I feel like, do you know what, in the Muslim culture, not that I'm a Muslim, but I speak to Muslims a lot, and they said the reason why the only reason, the reason why they do Ramadan as well is it's a self-discipline.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like, because one of the easiest things to do is eat.
I'm pretty sure one of the things behind it is to show appreciation for those that don't really have food.
Yeah.
So they're showing that their appreciation for those people that can't eat and don't have food to just go and fucking open the cupboard.
Yeah, but it's also the mental resilience, because it's so easy. You know, like we go into that conversation we always have, giving into your urges.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Giving into hunger is an urge. Obviously,
it is, yeah.
if you're hungry, like if you're
People snack, like
starving,
snacking,
then yeah, obviously you should eat. But I mean, like snacking, like that's giving. I fancy a chocolate bar. I'm going to go eat that. It's an urge. You're giving into that urge, and being able to be self-disciplined not to eat food, which you've been doing routinely every day for your whole life since you've been born.
hard, yeah.
It's fucking hard, isn't it? So to break that that cycle of eating and fasting and just living off water that's another mental thing. Another mental thing. You're building resilience up. That's the only reason why I ever done it. I've done it 5 times now, and the only thing I would get benefit of it is like, right, do you know what happens sometimes? I'll be dry. I'll be like you, like whatever the situation is. I'll be fucking starving like on a normal day, and I go, I'm not actually starving because I've done this before for 3 days and not eating, so I know I can do it. And then that talks me out of it. But you only kind of gain that from doing it. So I do understand what he says by it's not calling you a defeatist, but I'm saying it's defeatist attitude. You know what I'm saying?
Listen,
no, I wasn't digging you out, but you get what I'm saying.
No, it's fine, mate. I used to like fast as a kid when I was younger. I used to be a little bit more, well, not religious, but again, I used to do it for the point of understanding what people go through without having food and water and stuff. But most people that you speak to that fast, it's not the food side of it that like when you're fast, it's not the food side that kind of is hard. It's the not drinking the water part. That's the hard.
Shit, they don't drink.
They don't drink. I would really struggle with that.
Bro.
Oh fuck,
you wake up for iftar at like I think at a certain window again up until
sunrise,
5
sunset.
o'clock. Yeah, and then and after that you can't eat till, I mean, it depends on the time, but I think at the moment it's around up to 9 o'clock. People are not drinking or eating, so it's not the food, it's the water.
That's
part.
hard.
Yeah, that's
it's
hard.
the
The
hydration
water thing
part.
would fuck me.
That's what
and
it
some
is.
people do these in hot countries as well, like fucking wherever, or the Middle East.
Yeah.
What would you say again for people watching and stuff? I like training fasted anyway. I like my cardio, and I like training fasted again because that resilience to show that, the food before is what's giving you the energy. But I like just waking up and cracking on in the gym because that's my body's then just running at its natural pace without, in my head, anything in it to give it that boost. What would you say really are the key benefits to? Because I've watched loads of podcasts on it, but Joe Rogan, it's not for everybody. Intermittent fasting is not for everyone. What would you say are like sort of the main key benefits or advice you give to anyone thinking about intermittent fasting or training fasting?
Yeah, I mean, I think intermittent fasting needs to be viewed as a tool, not like a superior way of dieting. It's not going to get you more shredded than me not intermittent fasting, which is the biggest flaw, and it's the way in which we've just spoken about how certain people prey on the fact that like, this is my mantra and you should do intermittent fasting, and they make money off it. Intermittent fasting is just for people that like to consume larger amounts of food in that smaller window, which is like what I just enjoy my food and I enjoy a lot of it. So, you know, in terms of getting into condition, you could look at obese patients and argue that intermittent fasting is slightly more superior, but even then, when they're compared to trials of people that just have regular calories throughout the day, there's no real difference.
Okay.
It's more so to do with things like improvements in blood glucose, sensitivity to foods, blood pressure as well, things like that. So it from an aesthetic point of view, that a lot of viewers will be watching thinking it's going to get me more shredded. It's probably not going to get you more shredded, but if you are using compounds that require you to be fasted, then it may. So if you're taking like your Himbine that requires you to be fasted, maybe guys are on Clenin T3 and things like this, or maybe some form of injectable, then it's probably in your best interest to stay fasted for a prolonged period of time to get the most out of that compound.
Okay, fine.
So there's definitely an argument for, intermittent fasting could get you more shredded if you're using certain compounds, but for the vast majority of people, it's just a tool to eat more food. I work with a lot of busy dads and mums and things like that don't have time to eat. So we say, right, first meal's at 12, last meal's at 6 or 7 with the family.
Yeah, nice.
And that's good because they bank so many calories that they can enjoy food with their kids.
Of course, yeah.
Otherwise, if they, how many people wake up? Sometimes I get clients that come to me and I speak to them. I say, right, just give me they say, oh, I'm not losing weight and I'm eating really well. I say, just track what you're eating. Meal 1, wake up, go to Pret, granola pot and a croissant.
They've been conditioned to believe that's healthy.
I'm like, you've just had 1,000 calories. Yeah. They're like, no, it's just a granola pot. I said, no, look, you've scanned it in on MyFitnessPal. You've had a croissant and a coffee and a granola pot. You've had nearly 1,200 calories. Lunch, heavy. Dinner, heavy. Snack before bed. You're on 3K. You don't even realise it.
That's mad.
Do you know what I mean? So when you start educating, they go, fuck, like, yeah, you're
Can't believe what I was eating before.
Yeah, which is crazy.
And there's sometimes what I find people saying is, I'm eating more than I used to, I'm losing weight. I'm like, because you're eating more of the right food. And like you said, it's volume and you're eating more of the right food. And now you're losing weight because of that.
Absolutely.
Where they think, because they've been conditioned to believe, granola's really healthy for you. Nuts are really good for you.
Yeah.
Peanut butter's a really good source of protein.
Yeah.
All these little myths that have been like educated into people's minds, but incorrect.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. But that's just, again, diet culture again of what's wrong, what's right. And there's so many things floating about on the internet. It's hard to kind of differentiate what is the right method and what is the wrong method. Because you've got these people now going on to Stephen Bartlett's pod and they're saying calories doesn't work.
That Plonko,
calories
that?
don't matter.
I mean, I don't know why he's gone down that quite clickbaity route because he doesn't need to do it. He's such a poignant kind of podcaster in this space. There's no reason for him to. And I think he was like, Davina McCall on. Like, I did cocaine with Mum at 7. It's like, all right, I get it. Of course we do. It's the culture. We have to create content, but he doesn't really need to do it. And then when you have guests on like that, a lot of that is taken out of context. Though he's very good at taking a soundbite from it. Yeah. And then when you actually listen to him, you're like, yeah, no, I agree. But just to plainly state calories don't count or things like that, it's not true. Is it?
Yeah, of course.
That was pure bait, that was.
Of course it was.
Pure bait.
And it works because it gets the likes of James Smith and whatnot riled up to respond.
Yeah, true.
Which then in turn creates more engagement for him. So it's clever. It's
got everyone's back up, didn't it? Even I was like clicking, I was like, what?
You think you said it to me? You said it, you seen this guy? I was like, yeah, what the fuck's this about?
Yeah. So my lot do that. Anytime there's anything that new about calories, it's straight into the group chat. It's like, Tom, what's your thoughts on this? And I'm like, I explain. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. How did you think like your... I don't know if you seen anyone at the moment? You don't have to obviously answer that.
No.
Do you think the next person you see has to be kind of educated in the same kind of space you are to work, or do you reckon it can be someone polar opposite?
Yeah, I like the concept of a relationship with someone who's not in my industry. I think it's fresh. I think it's it creates a different kind of conversation as well with their life and my life. So yeah, I've never been. I mean, a lot of the girls in the fitness industry are fucking nuts anyway. Do you know what I mean? They're just
that's just women full stop, bro.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, I've got I quite like that element of my life being outside the fitness industry, and that's I think what I do quite well is that I've got a good circle of boys outside of fitness. And I view fitness and Instagram, YouTube as my job. And I think a lot of people and their downfall and their psychiatric and their mental health is because they live and breathe in it. They're in that, do you know what I mean? They're in that environment constantly. And I can quite easily detach from that. Of course. So I quite like the idea of having a partner that's not really in the space, who obviously likes to look after himself. And it's quite good from a content creation point of view when I take them to the gym and train and whatnot. But yeah.
I was going to say, could you be with someone like... Because I think if someone trains and look after himself, I'm not necessarily talking about to the extent of competing or a Gymshark athlete or something like that, but like just generally someone who looks after themselves, goes gym, eats well, like doesn't eat shit and binge and all that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. Could you be with someone who didn't do that? So I was just going to say, could you be with someone who isn't like that? Because like to us lot, as opposed to our friendship group and things like that, if you see a girl that, I don't know, even plays a sport, or just goes to the gym, or she's a runner or anything like that, that's attractive because it says a lot about that person in terms of their mindset, in terms of the way that they look at themselves and things like that. Do you reckon you could be with someone that hasn't got that about them?
Yeah, potentially, because their interest may lay in something outside of, and their disciplines may lay outside of, like my ex was a social worker as an example, and like what she was up against on a daily basis was, none of us could do that. Yeah, that's very true. What you listen to, what they go through day in, day out, how they're underpaid, how they're underappreciated. We would get our backs up. We'd be fuming. So you have to respect that level of discipline that they've got. So yeah, I mean, I definitely, like yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I suppose it's not something that I massively look for. I mean, yeah, it's not. I respect it, and it's nice that they train and whatnot, but it's not something. It's not like a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Fine.
Say. You know, if I started seeing a girl and she was in good shape and didn't really go to the gym, I wouldn't be like, right, get in the gym now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think like that really.
No, fair.
No, that's
I was
fair
curious.
enough. In terms of like, obviously you spoke about your relationship and it was a hard time and certain things. I remember you came back from IB for one time and then it spun your head a little bit as
Massively,
well. How did you kind of deal with your mental health throughout all of that? Because I know you did a bit of journaling, which you said helped a lot.
Yeah.
And is there any like kind of advice that you'd kind of give to probably people our age that have been through relationship breakups or like come back from IB for head spin all over the gaff because of certain things they might have taken? Is there any like advice you'd give just to kind of like deal with that or kind of get you like past that point of just not feeling shit?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important not to make any rash decisions. It's very easy to make a decision when you're in that headspace.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of us have been in. And I think a lot of us nowadays in our society are quite easily influenced. You know, we're all under the impression that the grass is greener and it's not. Like the grass isn't greener, unfortunately. And you spoke about journaling. I did therapy for some time, which I think was probably one of the best things I've done. I think it was brilliant to have that. Just have that different conversation outside of, I mean, your friends and family are great, but when you're speaking to someone that is totally detached from that and they give a different spin on things, it helps massively. So I did CBT and psychotherapy, I think it was. So it was like almost like meditative techniques as well, which was really good. So yeah, there's a lot of like healing done during that time.
Is this after the breakup?
Yeah, this was after the breakup. Yeah, I thought it's a good time to do it.
Yeah, if there was a time to do it.
I wasn't getting any better, if you want to look like that. So I was like, let me actually just try and be proactive here and start doing things that are going to hopefully make me feel better. But look, I'm 2 years down the line after the breakup, and I still don't think I'm 100%. Do you know what I mean? Like,
hit you that hard, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. And I think, I've definitely not been the same person since it. There's definitely been improvements and there's definitely been areas of my life that I'm really grateful for, but there's a big like hole missing from it, 100%.
Still,
yeah, definitely.
Crazy.
And I think that will change.
That.
Yeah, and I think it's important to be open about it. But and that will certainly change if I do meet someone. Do you know what I mean? But it's just in that kind of interim period whereby it's not there that you start thinking.
Are you kind of, and this might be a bit of a weird backward question on what you've just said there, but like, are you kind of enjoying this phase now of thinking, like you say there's that hole missing, you maybe kind of enjoying that phase of thinking, what is it that's missing about me right now? Like, what am I now trying to fill that with about myself?
Absolutely. And it's very easy to fill that void through drink and drugs and girls and things like that. But I think it's important to do that because then you truly see, you know,
that's not it. Yeah,
that's not it. And a couple of my friends are going through the same thing, and they did that, and it's like, right, this isn't helping at all. And I think it's important. I think it's important to experience that early on. Most definitely, yeah.
That's good.
I hear that. Yeah,
it's good because you show a lot of transparency through like your content, whether it be YouTube or Instagram, whether it be like you just spoke about. Then I know they used to do a lot of like clothing hauls, and it used to be a lot of like designer stuff as well. And then you almost like went off all of that stuff as well.
Yeah.
What was kind of like the trend? Because obviously a lot of young people watching now. People like designer things. People
he still does it. I swear I see you still do it.
But it's not.
I do. But it's just like
it's not as like Louis bags as like. It was mad at one point, wasn't it?
But it's each their own because some people may really enjoy material goods, and that's absolutely fine. We shouldn't. We're in a society now whereby we almost demonize people that enjoy nice things, and that's not the case. You know, some people might come into money, enjoy that life, and that's their life. Happy days. For me, I came into a lot of money. Spent it stupidly and it didn't make me happy. I remember doing stupid things like before my Mykonos holiday, I was like, right, in order for me to get that airport picture, I need to get my Louis slides, which are 800 quid. I need to get my bag, which was 1,200 quid. And I thought, I've done this for a picture. Yeah. What the fuck am I doing? Do you know what I mean? So, and you only realise that when you're out of it.
Once you've done it, you've got to do it to kind of know. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I still like my clothes and that, but it's more minimalistic now and just like
just do it for yourself.
You're a big fan of Reese and M&S, aren't you?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, M&S clothing, man.
M&S just absolutely banged them.
Yeah. Lovely, isn't they?
They're really good. Like they're really
they're like old school tops.
Very underrated autograph stuff. 100%, unbelievable.
Yeah. Gandhi stuff, his new stuff's good.
David Gandhi's a boy, isn't he?
His well-wear. His podcast with Stephen Bartlett was really good. He talked about his...
I didn't know he'd done it.
Oh, but that's one of his best ones. I watch that quite frequently. He talks about his insecurities and his imposter syndrome.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Massively.
You wouldn't think of someone like that,
absolutely not. And he said, look, I just got lucky.
I
was born the way I was. I can't do anything about that. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, he's
one to watch maybe. I ain't seen that.
It's a really insightful one to watch, I think, definitely.
Do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome?
All the time, man. All the time. I have to pinch myself, and with the Met Flow as well, and recently doing kind of speaking appearances, and think, why are you here?
Yeah.
What do you think drives that? Because when I first started doing coaching, which was 2000 and 2018 or 2019, whenever it was.
Yeah.
I always thought people are going to be judging me on what I'm saying, or judging me. Oh, he said that wrong, or he shouldn't be doing this because he's not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you always do you reckon that's the driving force behind all imposter syndrome? Because I've got this guy right now that it's funny. He used to be my managing director of my previous job 4 years ago. Crazy story. He quit that job and he's become a massage therapist, and he said, yo, I want to post on social media, but I feel like I've got this imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm not qualified enough, even though he's got all the qualifications. He feels like I've not been in the game long enough to tell people about what I'm doing or educate them about what I'm doing. And there'll be loads of people out there that are starting YouTube or starting whatever it may be on social media or they're coaching, and they'll probably suffer from this thing called, they probably don't even know it's called imposter syndrome, but they'll probably be suffering from it because they're going, I don't want to post because I'm scared of what people are going to think, or how do you get around that? What do you think drives that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident in my ability to speak. I don't really get imposter syndrome from jumping on a camera and talking about intermittent fasting because I know like that's my bread and butter. I've been doing that for however many years. Yeah. I think it more so stems from like when we are doing speaking pieces and people are paying money. I think because I think I don't view myself as anyone. So when I go to expos and people come up to me and they got like really dry mouths and they're shaking, I'm thinking, like, what are you doing? I don't get it. Yeah. I don't think I ever will, to be honest. Like, I always see myself as Tom, I never put myself on a pedestal in the sense that I am better than anyone, or so that's where mine stems from. Maybe it's not imposter syndrome. Maybe it's just like a reaction to people around me that think I am this guy, and I'm just a regular bloke, really. In the grand scheme of things, I think a lot of people are.
Of course,
you know what I mean?
That's crazy because I've always seen you as like one of the. I've said it to you at the beginning, and this is like one of the old school Instagram bodybuilders. I've always known you as TM Cycles, and I think what drove that was knowing Joe Delaney. Then I know that you knew Aaron Murphy and all these other guys that were in the gym world and so deep in it. And then your name always pops up, and you're quite a familiar face. Do you ever realize? I know you said you don't, but you feel like you're just Tom. But do you ever sit back and go, I've got quite a big influence on people, and I'm quite
100%. Yeah, like when I'm out and. Little thing, I think we went Printworks for New Year's and we got in there fairly early and we started speaking, and my mate was like, look, there's a queue, and I thought, oh fuck, there's actually I turned around, there was like a queue of people, and I thought, this is mad, like this is crazy. I mean, me, Josh and Joe,
if we ever go to talk to you?
Yeah, just
I
like,
thought you meant a queue to get in.
No, a queue of people in like just by the side, and my mates were like, fuck, there's actually, and then same as Manchester, what was it, the rave up in Manchester festival?
Warehouse Project?
No, not Warehouse. What's the main one in Manchester? Park Life.
Did you enjoy that, by the way?
No, I hated it.
I said I hated every second. Absolute shithole dive.
Experience.
Scary place.
Yeah, everyone's in
I think we went. Yeah, we left early after bicep like this guy. We actually enjoyed the night out before in that little northern quarters in Manchester.
Yeah.
Which is
I'll never go back to Park Life to the day I die.
Never will I ever.
It's not safe, man. Like everyone's filming about.
I see people with bally's on and that, and I see people getting robbed for their watches and that. It's moody. Bruv, you know when you like trying to enjoy the vibe and you're in the mix, and then you now got loads of people with balaclavas around you and that, bruv, and you're thinking this ain't the one.
Yeah, I know. Why are you here as well? I hate it. It's
horrible vibe.
It gets my back up.
Yes, yeah, sorry, I cut you off. So you're in Park Life, and what people
just that kind of and like little things, and just like remember when I first went to Ibiza back in 2019, and my following weren't huge, but we went to just some really quiet beach, like no one was there, and then we went to the bar, and I was like, "You right, TM Cycles?" And Josh was like, "Oh my, this is mental." So like everywhere we go now, there is someone that's like, "Oh, you're right," and we get, I think you can see it when you like walking towards someone, they're like.
Yeah.
So it's just a nice feeling.
It's good,
but I try and ease their discomfort by like just speaking. I'm like, how are you? Like, what are you doing this weekend? Because a lot of the time they're a bit like, don't know what to do. Which is just crazy for someone of my following. But I think my engagement's quite high. Your
engagement's massive. I feel like you have a cult following.
Yeah. I think you're correct.
Yeah.
I think you're correct.
Because we've had people on here that have got huge followings. Yeah. Huge followings, but. Their engagement doesn't reflect that, even though it's legit. Their followings are legit.
Yeah, cool.
They are legit. All everyone's, but their engagement's not there.
No.
And I said this to the boys. I went, boys, he's got a cult following. This guy.
Yeah.
But everyone, all the boys that know. Well, I'll rephrase that. All the boys that say like, "Oh, who's coming on?" And we go, "Oh, we've got TM Cycles coming on." Like, fucking hell, like, love that guy. Watched him for years. Followed him for years. Like, everyone straight away knows who you are.
I mean, that's not. But to the flip side of that as well, I'm pretty disliked by a lot of people as well. I mean, I said that at the.
What makes you think that?
Well, I just know because there's people in the industry that just can't stand
in the industry though.
In the industry, yeah. But I think maybe outside of that as well. I think a lot of people up north don't really like me for some reason. I'm not too sure. which is just really odd. Because when we went to that speaking conference, one of the guys who lives up there in the Ultraflex gyms, I said, I think I'm really liked by a lot of you guys. He's like, no, you're not. And I was like, that's quite.
Why though?
I honestly don't know. Whether it's my demeanour, or they think I'm cocky or arrogant, I don't know. But
I think it's the transparency that scares people.
Maybe it does. Yeah, they don't like it.
A lot of people don't like, especially like you're so open with what you did and what you've done.
Yeah,
I think people are just like almost like angry that they can't be doing it because they're going to lose like sponsorship deals. They're going to lose
100%. Yeah, that's true.
And I think it's just bitterness that they're not basically like you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, they're trying to attack you over like we like use cuffs and reverse bands and things like that, and
people always bash them as well.
But their avenue's different to ours. It's like we're coaching lifestyle clients here, and you're competing for the stage. We're not in this. Doesn't matter. I don't like come at you lot for doing that. I don't like why are you wearing gas or why are you wearing those Atomic shoes.
Yeah.
I don't care what. Why doesn't you know what I mean?
You could do everything like perfectly,
absolutely,
and nicely, and someone will still find something
100%
to moan. So I always say, if they're not hating, then you're doing something wrong. So
100%.
I would almost see that as a positive. That's why, like when we started this pod, we've had a few people come online on TikTok and try to cuss us. I find it jokes. I think it's brilliant.
That's what I said on the last
cuss
podcast.
me more, whatever.
Play with them. They're beneath you. They always will be. No one above us or on our level is going to take.
That's so true.
You won't get Stephen Bartlett going, what are you guys doing on there? He'd be like, this is great. Well done. You're in a nightclub and you're doing it. This is amazing.
Do you know what I mean? Give you ideas. They go, think about this, think about that. Yeah, so true.
That's so fucking true.
And the geezer he had on, I can't remember his bloody name now, but the guy he had on, he was like, people have this massive misconception that rich people are assholes. He's like, let me tell you, every single rich person I know that has made it is the nicest guy and nicest woman you'll ever meet in your life.
So I used to think this. I used to think if you had a Rolex on, you're a wanker.
Yeah.
Like back in the day, to think, oh, you flash bastard. And I was like, why am I thinking? Then I thought, let me almost join them.
Yeah.
Let me get the Rolex, and I'm like, oh, it's just they work hard and they're nice people. Yeah. It's just my own stupid mindset.
When you ask for their help, they'll tell you ideas.
Oh my god, 100%.
They share ideas. They want to. They do genuinely want to help you.
They'll bend over backwards. The amount of times I've had a good conversation with people like that on nights out, and I think, oh my god, you're sweet, you're sound.
Yeah, I think it's conditioned into you almost from a young age. Like you know when you see like a flash car and they're like, oh, what a wanker.
Yeah.
Like, I've had so many conversations with people that have nice cars and they've just been so open and like happy.
They want to know what you do. They'll ask you about you.
Yeah.
They go, oh, have you thought about doing this? Have you thought about doing
that guy on YouTube goes, excuse me, what do you do for a living? They all stop.
They'll sit and talk to you and tell you what's what.
I think some are set up like the OnlyFans girls, but they are genuine people.
At one point,
I swear,
where was the guy who used to go around to people's houses in LA? And
and look,
I just want to know what you do for a living. And they come, they'd welcome you in. They'd see what. He got business opportunities off the back of that. Like they were like, love your. I won't say his name, but I think he talked. What did he talk about? That video he said the other day. We kept pestering him, asked him what he do for business. Now he works for him.
He said. He goes, why'd you do this? Why'd you go out and take pictures of people's cars? He goes, that's what I do. I take pictures of their cars and I get their email, and I've got an email list of loads of millionaires.
Of the richest people in the world. And he went, now he works for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's but people like that. Yeah, you're so right. Like you said, the people that are on your level or doing better will show you nothing but love.
100%.
So true.
Some people are less flashy as they make more money anyway. If you think about it,
100%.
I think when you don't have it, you're more likely to have a bit of something and then go mad about it.
So true.
If that makes sense. So it's actually quite the opposite.
100%. We went on a stag do recently with like multi-millionaires, like just out and out multi-millionaires. Nothing, just grey tea, bit of shorts, like
they don't want to show it.
They don't want to show it, and they don't feel the need to anyway. No. They're like, why? It's all in assets in my house. Like, why do I need to prove to you?
So true.
No point to prove.
There's just different levels. You get to one level, you think, oh, this is cool. And there's just levels every time, isn't there? You just can't. It's crazy. That's fucking crazy.
That's the problem with the youngsters though. Like what we said at the beginning of the pod, but we want to talk about. Trying to these youngsters just to be themselves, figure themselves out. It's easy for us boys to say that, all nearly 30 years old. But again, when we were that age, there weren't really anyone our age telling us to do that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Apart from maybe your parents and your older brothers and stuff like that. That's really the only people that done it. So if we can now tell the 18, 19, 20-year-olds to just fucking be yourself and don't worry about the flashy stuff, don't worry about jumping on the gear now, like Tom said, like just do. You stay in your own lane and work hard.
It's almost like as if there was no people that we could look up to, but now there's so many, you don't know who to look up to as well.
Wow.
Like you need to learn, and you've said this before, like make sure you're following the right accounts, the right people, because that content and information you're consuming is almost what kind of transforms you into being the man that you are or the woman that you are. So you need to be very picky with it,
but also be a little bit open-minded and question. Like, don't be afraid to question. I'm sure there's some questionable stuff that the brothers that we mentioned talk about saying, and I've watched a couple of clips in the past of what he's got to say on like how we shouldn't have like father figures. I think the other day he was talking about how it's important that we don't have a dad, or we only have a dad occasionally. And I think don't project your own failure of not having a dad on us.
That's very true.
Because I grew up in like Lewisham in a council estate, and I grew up with friends without dads, and you can the
difference.
It is night and day different. I'm very grateful that my mum and dad are still about. They split up, but my relationship with them, and I've got unique relationships with both of them.
Yeah, same.
So to come out and say that we shouldn't have a dad is just, I mean,
it's silly.
It's absurd.
But I'd be lost without my old man.
Yeah, so would I. And it's important we question those people that we admire. Like I admire those two.
Yeah, so
I really
do I.
do. But at the same time,
You're cherry pick information.
I would absolutely pull them up and say that is completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
But this is the thing though. Like, I mean, you've got a certain cult following, like we said. Some people have like a big platform. It's almost like you have this massive responsibility to be able to actually put the right information out there.
Yeah,
because,
of course.
like you said, kids are so impressionable. Like, especially with what's going on now with the gov. Like, I don't want to get too deep down a rabbit hole, but there's a lot of kids now. I think like kids nowadays are in danger from the things that are happening. They're getting taught in school, things
Massively.
they're seeing. Parents don't know what's going on. Like, I see a lot of this, and I'm just like, wow. If I had kids, do I want them to go to a public school and be a part of this bullshit?
Yeah, that's so true.
It's madness,
There's certain
mate.
stuff. One of our mates' boys, he told us. I'm not gonna label anything, but he told me what they're getting taught at school at the moment. I was like, bro, I'll be taking that to school straight away.
I agree.
And they're
we
attacking
say
it
that.
from all angles. It's in schools, it's in books, it's on TV, on cartoons. It's all
It's on
changed.
YouTube. You know the YouTube, the section for kids. It's now educating them.
That's what's scary.
Yeah.
But it's mass censorship, and it's not promoting debate. So the issue with the brothers is that you have a select group of people that don't agree with what they're saying, and they think the best way is to just shut them out.
Yeah.
You cannot do that.
You can't kill an idea.
No, that's not the right image that you should be projecting to your kids either. You should be going, look, I don't agree with these people because, and
educate
and promote debate and
say
discussion.
why you think they're wrong.
Yeah, you can't just silence them because it doesn't work.
I think it makes them more popular.
Of course it does. Look at them now. They're invincible.
Yeah,
they're invincible.
100%.
Yeah, he thinks he's going to be killed, doesn't he?
Of course he does. And if it happened, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
But
think
he's smart because he called their bluff before he went in. Said, maybe we're going to get killed or go inside. And what happened? They thought, well, I can't kill him now, can you?
Hate him or love him, is a smart geezer.
Of course he is. He's
Smart geezer.
Do you know what I like?
Exactly like Tom, that was a perfect example. Sorry, to cut you off. What Tom just said, that is a perfect example. You pick snippets of what you believe is right and agree with, and then question what you don't.
But do you know what I like? He was called out on his shit with peers, but everything he got called out and he didn't shy away from. He counter argued. Whether you still believe in what he said or not, he's what he says. He never reverses it. He says, "Well, that's what I believe and that's what I'm saying." Do you know what I'm saying?
I really like Piers.
Yeah.
Bro, Piers Morgan.
Piers says it how it is. Like,
There was a period I didn't like him. I thought he was a cock.
No,
now
I
he's
like Piers.
got his own platform.
He's a bit arrogant,
Mate.
but I like Piers Morgan.
Bro, he is one of the hardest debaters. Like, he'll debate against anyone.
Yeah, but he struggled against him.
Yeah, well, he did, but he held it down. This is what I'm trying to say.
yeah.
He charmed him in the end.
Yeah.
He had like said
played
after,
chess with him.
Yeah. It's like, I actually quite like him. And it's like, well, how did you charm Piers Morgan? Because you got to have either the gift of the gab or
Something about it.
Everyone
Sure.
says that,
yeah.
though, don't they? Everyone says when they meet him, they're absolute. I don't know what you.
No one said anything negative about him. Everyone's encounter with him saying it's all positive. So
Of course, 100%.
Right.
I was gonna say though, I think there's like a lot of kids nowadays that probably want to get into content creation, want to do online coaching. I think it's quite appealing to a lot of younger kids, even people our age, I suppose. But is there any certain type of advice you would give anyone that's trying to get into the industry you're in?
Yeah, I mean, don't force the niche. I think we've certainly done it before, haven't we? Like the day before we release an Instagram page, you type in on Google, like, what niche shall I go into? We are our own niche. Hold the mirror up and look at yourself. You'll be surprised at what you're interested in. Hundreds of thousands of people are also interested in that.
Fair play, yeah.
So don't feel like you have to kind of put yourself in this box of appealing to the mass market in the fitness industry. I haven't done it.
Yeah.
I could have gone down that route of like my protein unboxing and being this squeaky clean individual that holds his opinions. And I mean, I've seen firsthand when I've been open about politics and my views have just gone right down. I've spoken about the virus and blocked straight away. So you have to be smart, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you have to just put yourself in that box of I need to appeal to a certain type, because you said your demographic's like 18-25. That you are always going to have people that are in.
Do you know what I like about when you do these? Not yourself, but I mean anyone does these statements of things they truly believe in, whether it's the virus, whether it's the brothers, whether it's anything. I feel like it's a cleanse because you're weeding out all the people you don't really want to follow you anyway.
So true. Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard at the time. When it first kicked off in 2020, I remember I first kicked off in 2020 and I was dead against it, like straight from the beginning, from the get-go. And I was saying some controversial stuff online, what people deemed as controversial. And I lost I think it was like 400 followers overnight.
That's fine. It's
I
good.
lost over 1,000.
Yeah. And you know what? And at the time it pissed me off. I was like, fuck. Maybe I should shut up about it. And you know what? I didn't actually shut up about it.
No, good.
Actually, I was actually a pain in the ass. People were going, you need to stop talking about it now. So no, I'm not talking about it because everything, you're just believing shit. Anyway, I'm going to get too deep into it. But the point was, when I got overcome that, I started people coming up to me going, oh, do you know what? I started agreeing with what you're saying, and you're getting these new followers that are starting to agree with you, actually your real message and the real you.
People.
Yeah. So you're weeding out all these bollock people that you don't want following you anyway. Because
It's a good way to look at it.
yeah, it's a really good way. You're just weeding out the shit.
I like that.
Weeding out the shit. We've done 1 minute. No, I always do this. We've done 1 hour 21. Tom, is there anything you want to plug? Anything you want to say or anything?
Well, message to the youngsters, really.
He's already gave one. He said, "Just be yourself."
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, no, nothing to plug.
No, nothing to plug.
I'll ask a question then. What does the next, like, maybe 5 years
Yeah, that's it. What's
look
next
like
for
for you? 5 to 10, because you're 29 now. We're getting to a certain age. Start looking at life a little bit differently.
Yeah.
What is it that you want in the next 5, 10 years?
And you know what? I never have a 5-year plan.
You don't?
No, I always say I could walk out here now and get hit by a bus, and that's me done. I'm not. You know, I've got an idea of where I'd like to take the business and kind of new ventures, and really, it's more so about expansion of the current assets that I've got, which is what I enjoy doing. And the older I get, the more I just want to educate people massively.
Yeah.
Like, and I see with certain gaps in the market when it comes down to content creation and the academy and things like that, they're what I want to put my all into. So yeah, it's just continuing that, and then maybe see how we get on living and moving into another country. I think would be good. And I certainly don't want to invest money into a house here. I mean, I got family in Spain that live in Madrid, so it kind of makes sense if I was going to buy property over there to buy there and then Airbnb it and do that sort of thing. So in terms of 5-year plan, maybe that. But
yeah, nice.
Yeah, that's
We'll see you in Spain.
It'd be nice to watch you in your journey.
Yeah, proper.
It'd be a full circle moment when we see you on that plane moving abroad.
That's it. Come to
good,
Madrid.
No, we definitely appreciate you coming, bro.
Thanks very much.
Interesting one.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Lovely
one of
to
the
have you,
one of the best guests we've had on. I think I
Oh,
really
that
enjoyed
was
every second of that.
unbelievable,
It was
Says
great.
about everyone, but
No, but do you know what it
Don't
is?
listen
No,
to him, he's a compulsive
no, but do you know what it is? No, hear me out. I've noticed every pod. I've loved every guest. Every single guest I've loved. There's not one person I've not enjoyed yet. But every week it's getting better and better. I don't know whether that's from our personal development of interacting with people,
100%.
or the people are just getting better and better. I don't know what it is. But again, you was a great guest. And
That conversation was
yeah, it was
unbelievable.
great conversation. I really appreciate you coming on, man. So I appreciate
you
it.
very
And
much.
shout out to Dan as well, bro, for plugging that. I appreciate you, man.
Big
But
love,
guys, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed it. If you made it this far, please drop us a comment in the comment section below. Leave us a like, and we'll see you in the next.
Peace.
Cheers.